I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker now. Pedro Moya is head of industry at Google and has over 13 years of B2B sales, marketing, product management, and leadership experience. Pedro is currently leading a team that provides digital marketing solutions to businesses in the manufacturing and distribution sector. Prior to joining Google, Pedro served as manager of the electrical industry group at NSK Limited, a worldwide manufacturer of motion control devices. In this role, Pedro managed the sales, engineering, and marketing team that supported the global clients across a variety of industries. Pedro has a bachelor's degree in engineering from the United States Military Academy at West Point. At this time, please welcome to the stage Pedro Moya.
So we'll start off by talking about some high-level trends that we're seeing in the industry from our perspective and how those trends are shaping our strategy and our discussions with our advertisers and users. We'll go into a series of about 5 questions that we get asked regularly from CMOs and senior VPs of marketing. And we'll talk about some examples of what people are doing in the space, again, hoping to stimulate some ideas and possibly some future opportunities across the mobile space. You'll see a lot of examples from different platforms. This isn't going to be a Google sales pitch, though you will see a lot of Google spread out through it because we're very active in the mobile space. But I just want to go through and show a couple of pictures of how we've come this far. So 1950s, single screen. Some of you may remember this. You know, this was actually up through the early 1980s where we had very limited access to different types of media. Fast forward to 2012, and this is what most living rooms look like in the evenings, afternoons. So going from this to this does create a lot of complexity for marketers. When you think about the interconnection, not only the fact that there are all these devices, but they're all interconnected. We talk about the complexity that mobile has created for us as marketers. And sometimes it seems really overwhelming. My colleagues did a great job of really honing it down to a few key elements. And we'll talk about those things and reinforce them. But we also want to talk about some of the other things that are going to affect you and give you an opportunity to get an edge in your industry and find opportunities that you may not have seen before. And this leads into where we're going with mobile at Google. How many of you follow or are aware of the Google Developer Conference that we have annually? So if any of you saw, we launched, every year we launch our best products or our up-and-coming products. And this video is actually how we launched our latest mobile product at Google I/O this year. It's a 2-minute video. Some of you may have seen this launch, because it literally is a launch, but we'll go ahead and show the video at this time. So that video was of the dry runs of the event. We actually did launch that live streamed into the Moscone Center. They actually landed on the roof of the Moscone Center, rappelled down the side of the building, and motorbiked right up to the stage. And all of it was live streaming on the window behind them. I just wanted to give that to show you that the future for mobile really is now. The evolution that's occurring in the technologies, the infrastructure that's being built is able to support these types of technologies moving forward. Again, going to create an additional layer of complexity, but it's going to be an amazing opportunity for businesses to really transform how they go to market, how they disrupt their industries, and really become leaders in every facet of life. So we'll talk about this slide. Some of these things were alluded to. I think an important thing that I didn't have in here, but a very important indicator of where mobile has come. In this latest quarterly earnings for Google, we had 42% increase in queries. So that was from the previous quarter last year. However, our cost per click as an aggregate went down by 16%. That actually has everything to do with mobile adoption. We talked a little bit about how mobile is underinvested in advertising. So the clicks are very cheap on mobile devices. The advertising that we sell through Google search on mobile is a lot less expensive than the cost per click that we have on desktop or other devices. So actually, when you look at device, our cost per click on desktop have gone up. And that's still driving some revenue, but desktop search is starting to plateau, and the additional 30 to 40% of searches that we're seeing, queries that we're seeing, are being driven off of mobile devices, both mobile phones and tablets. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a fivefold in mobile activity. And a lot of this is being driven not only by the device proliferation, but the experiences that people are offering on mobile to allow them to engage and interact in very meaningful manners. And we'll show a lot of examples throughout this presentation to show how people are stimulating and changing their industries with their mobile opportunities and applications. A lot of people don't think it applies to B2B, but these are just some examples of industries as an aggregate showing the number of mobile searches that are incremental to desktop searches. So when you look at energy and utilities, 20% of all queries are now coming from mobile devices. Fleet management solutions, which makes a little more sense, is even higher at 30% because of the mobile slant of that industry. Even ERP software, examining and looking at different specifications, comparison, shopping, 15% of total queries are coming from either mobile phones or tablets. And information and research, finding a lot of different companies. So thinking about D&B and Forrester and a lot of these other companies, they're seeing about 20% of their queries coming from mobile devices as well. The other interesting thing and complexity that's been created is the multi-screening. I showed the picture of the person sitting in front of the TV with the multiple devices. On average, we spend about 4.5 hours of our leisure time in front of screens every day. Thinking about the non-screen interactions with radio, newspaper, and magazine, and you get a sense of the vast difference in time that we're actually spending on these connected devices versus offline, not unconnected devices. And this just gives some interesting stats, and again, a lot of us can relate to this. Using a smartphone while you're either reading a book, watching a movie, playing video games, you have it with you at all waking hours. And to Greg's point earlier, even non-waking hours, especially Al over here. These are some other stats of showing smartphone versus, plus television, smartphone plus laptop, and laptop plus PC. So again, the multi-devicing, the being exposed to commercials or information on a television set and actually going to the smartphone, laptop, or tablet to do further investigation has become a prevalent trend that we've seen. The first part of the presentations talked about the adoption of smartphones in enterprises, and this really has reached a tipping point. Just in the last year, C-level and business decision makers that own smartphones has almost doubled to 12.5 million, and that's continuing to grow every day. And an interesting stat that we worked on with a third party, OTX Media, shows that 37% of people who did initial research then actually purchased on their computer. 32% went and purchased offline after doing an initial search. Going back to the local intent aspect of local search, you do a search, you consider what you need, whether it be a restaurant, movie theater, all of those things, and then you actually purchase offline. And we talked a little bit about mobile advertising, but again, this just illustrates the imbalance of media consumption of users versus where advertising and other budgets are going right now. So we've really gone from why mobile to how. Most people recognize that we need to be doing something with mobile, but not really sure necessarily how to even get started. Where can we really leverage this? Where can we take advantage? And what can we be doing? So we'll talk about this. I mentioned the 5 questions that we get asked typically. How does mobile change my value proposition? There's 3 elements of this. One, looking at how users are using your mobile devices to interact with your company and brand. It also gets into mobile optimized sites versus mobile apps. So a lot of discussion about that today, and we'll give our perspective on that issue. How does mobile impact our digital destination? So this goes back to thinking about how we interact with sites, and based on our experience, either more deeply engage or not as deeply engage, and what are some things that you can do now to counteract that. We get asked a lot, especially by CMOs and senior VPs, how is our organization adapting to mobile? Do we have the right people in place? Do we have what we need to take advantage of this opportunity? And then how should marketing adapt to mobile, which means what should we be doing in this space? It's only a limited space on mobile phones. How do we take advantage of that without creating an issue with our users or customers, as well as tablets? That's another part of it. And how can we connect with our tablet audiences is another thing that we get frequently asked. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is serving the mobile customer. How many of you are familiar with this Chase app? So you can actually use this app now to take a picture of your check, write a check, take a picture of it, and upload it to be deposited. A revolution in the banking industry, in that eventually this could replace ATMs to a large extent, considering the adoption that it's getting. A lot of positive feedback. It's quick and easy, and you're actually able to deposit as much money as you can based on the configuration of the check and the verification. How many people are familiar with the FedEx app? So this is for business users, but you can actually create mobile shipping labels. You can do all the stuff that you would expect. Check your status, actually purchase and transact online, but you can also create mobile shipping labels and print them offline if you need to. We talked about the local intent. These stats were shown by Eric a little bit earlier. Again, 94% of these smartphone users who are searching for information transact within 24 hours. An interesting thing that's going on in retail, and has been going on, but this concept, how many people have heard of the showrooming issue? Some of you may be dealing with it to a lesser extent than the Walmarts and the Targets of the world. Did anyone hear about what Amazon did during the holidays this past year? Yeah. Eric. Amazon put out an ad that said, if you take a picture of any product in Walmart, Target, Sears, and take a picture of the price, we'll match the price and we'll give you a $10 gift certificate. Sales increased through Amazon Web by 20–30%. Walmart, Target, a lot of the other retailers saw softening in sales, which they attributed to various reasons. But these technologies are disruptive, and we're actually seeing this proliferate in the B2B space as well. There are electronic component distributors who are now offering similar things. So as design engineers are going and developing their bill of material, they'll pass it off to purchasing. Purchasing will then go out and do price searches for various components. And the lowest price will typically win unless there's an additional service that they're looking for. But certainly if it comes down to price, they're going to be looking for those specific parts. Another interesting stat is that 39% of people who actually left the store at Best Buy without purchasing um, can be attributed to research done on a smartphone where they looked at the product, figured out that there was a lower price, and because it was a high dollar item and they had already seen what they needed, went and transacted through an e-commerce platform. So the key takeaway here really is to look at what's going on in your space and identify what your value prop is and how your customer wants to engage with mobile. It really is as simple as talking to your customer and asking them, you've seen a lot of different apps, you've seen things out on the web. What are some things that you would like to do with us on a mobile web, on a mobile app, or through our mobile website? Thinking about mobile optimized websites, and this is an important part. We heard the question earlier, do we go to apps or do we go to mobile optimized sites? 57% of consumers or businesses won't recommend people with poorly designed mobile sites. This is really the gateway into your company. Apps are important, but they're actually a bookmark, and more so for people who are already engaged with your brand. People are looking, when new customers are coming to your site, they're coming through your initial website. They're not going to download an app that quickly. So we really feel strongly that it's important to have that mobile optimized site, because as people are looking for you and getting that information, they can make an assessment on whether or not they want to download your app. You can promote your app throughout the mobile web, and we'll talk about that as well. And certainly that's a place you eventually want to lead them into. But the mobile optimized experience through your website, so anyone can come in and interact with you in a meaningful way without having to commit to you by downloading your app, is really important. The thing that Volkswagen is actually doing with their dealers is they've created a template of their mobile site so that they can give to all their dealerships. Again, wanting to make sure that the local intent of people doing car shopping are able to get to a dealer quickly, but also understanding that dealers don't necessarily have the resources and time to invest in developing a mobile site on their own. 1-800-Flowers, optimizing the site is critical. So they were one of the first companies to adopt mobile for obvious reasons. So you look at their site about 6 years ago. We talked a lot about analytics and information that you can gather from interaction with your site. 1-800-Flowers is constantly looking at their analytics data, doing customer surveys to identify functionality. So you see they've continually optimized the experience. You see on the left side that what they were promoting with each of their buttons has completely changed. After they implemented the new changes, their click-through rates increased over 35%, and their adoption skyrocketed. So they doubled and tripled their users just within the past year and a half. And these are some B2B examples. So that we had the IBM one that Shomi showed earlier. But looking at your core value proposition and what you want to be providing to clients, it's really important to think about that before you move into developing your optimized site. So here we're going to show some different formats. A lot of these are B2C, but when you think about selling products and developing engaging experience for users, all of these technologies are here. There's a lot of partners that you can work with to develop these type of interactive experiences. If you get a chance, go through this, but there's a lot of different things that you're able to do, and these aren't terribly expensive options at this point. Some of this may seem out of the realm of possibility for some smaller businesses. Earlier, Sheila mentioned the How to Go Mo site. I highly encourage you to go through that. We actually partnered with Duda Mobile to create that site. What you're actually able to do is type in the URL of your main website, and it will show you a skeleton of a mobile optimized site and what it might look like. Duda Mobile will house your site or host your site for free for 1 year. So you have free hosting if you want to work with them in developing a site, and after that, develop your next step. But it's a quick way to actually get something out there now while you develop your strategy You can actually get a lot of information through your analytics on how people are engaging with it, and it's easy to make tweaks on it. And we'll go through some of the different views of this moving forward. Now we get into branded mobile apps. So 91% of Internet's best global brands have a presence in at least one of the major app stores. A lot of discussion around this today. Again, the three tenets that we say is offer users entertainment, utility, or both. Design your app for the largest mobile platforms, iOS, Android, primarily. And then promote your app. There are a lot of great apps out there. There's ways to actually get them in front of the right people and the right audience through targeted promotions. HP actually went for utility more versus entertainment. So now you can actually download this HP app to print from your phone. They're seeing a lot of traction with this as they've been promoting it over the past year or so. Grainger, which is a B2B supplier, has created a really nice app that you can scroll and look through all of their product inventory and actually create bills of material and all kinds of flexible functionality to complete orders. They've also integrated voice search, which has been used pretty heavily because they have over 1 million different products, I think, at this point. So that search integrated with some of their internal technologies have allowed them to launch this app. The third question that we get asked quite a bit is our organization adapting to mobile and that opportunity? Frequently what we find is that there's a digital marketing team, there's an offline team, there's a media team, and people are only now starting to have mobile champions as part of their mix. So a lot of you here may have been named the mobile champion for your specific company, but it's really important to have this. And not only do you have a mobile champion, but you have a cross-functional team. You have access to all of the resources that you need internally. Greg mentioned earlier, IT can be your best friend. That's a really critical component in partnering between the mobile, the media agency, as well as IT to really understand what the opportunities are. Here's a list of questions. I won't go through all of them, but these are the key questions that you need to be thinking about as you're developing your mobile strategy. Quite a few people mentioned Google Analytics. All of this information is actually available through Google Analytics. You can break it down by device, so you can see how many of your searches are coming in through iPads or iPhones, Android devices, and the search queries. So you can get as granular as seeing which search queries people are typing in to mobile devices to get to your site. And if you have a conversion event, you can actually say that this person transacted using this keyword. All of that functionality is available free through Google Analytics. It's also important to track the full value of mobile, and these are just the micro conversions and all the different things that mobile can be used for. Most of these events are trackable if you set up conversion events through mobile phones or through even desktop. If you create dynamic mobile phones, you can actually understand which channel they're coming from. Some of you may have done that, and we can talk more about that. It's a little more complex, but you can understand which channel each of the phone calls came through, and then you can set up strategies to take advantage of those opportunities. The fourth question we get asked is, how should our marketing adapt to mobile? One thing, a lot of discussion we've heard today about was the experience on mobile phone versus tablets and desktop. So you see here, the ad text is significantly different. In Google, you can set up different mobile campaigns to actually have a very different look and feel based on what the intent of the mobile user wants. So typically, we talk about that local intent. If somebody's looking for a store, you can put Find a Store Now, and it'll take you right into that part of their site. You have Buy Now. You have other different formats like click to call, click to download, which we'll show as well. But understanding the user intent behind each of the queries will allow you to modify your strategy. The key takeaway here is to go and search for your brand in mobile as a customer would. So put yourself in your customer's shoes, even ask your customer. Use the mobile phone and show me what you're looking for when you're interacting with our brand. We talked about CRM. A lot of activity in this space. You see they have a click-to-call number as well as an online CRM demo that they can actually stream live through the phone. That's creative that you can put on for specific keywords. We talked about the hyper-local ads, and Google can now do zip code targeting to where, based on your GPS location, you can bid higher on specific geographies that are most appealing to you. Starwood Hotels has actually gone full out and input all of their specific locations using Google Maps in order to show the exact hotel that's closest to you as they're searching. This has actually resulted in 20% increase in mobile bookings and a 20% ROI. Because of the relevancy of these ads, they're actually paying a lot less for them. And FedEx is driving mobile engagement through calls and store visits. So they have a phone call, or if you want to get directions to the nearest site, you have that ability through site links to drive that. Even HVACs are actually seeing a lot of traction here. Lennox was able to reduce their cost per acquisition on mobile by 90%, just by offering a click-to-call number and some information on HVAC replacement, which eventually led to a transaction. And the trucking industry, US Express, so they're always looking to hire truck drivers. Again, click-to-call with truck driver jobs that are locally posted, so it can pick up your location, again, on your mobile device and show you the listing of jobs that are closest to you. And I mentioned promoting your download app as well. So FedEx and Grainger are getting adoption by actually putting the download as their only site link. So if you want to download their app, they're leading you directly into it, either through iPhone or Android, and promoting app download. As far as using mobile for building your brand, interesting stats that seem to exponentially increase every month or two. 570 years, that was 525 2 months ago. So another 50 years of Angry Birds are being played every month, or being played every day. Eric mentioned YouTube becoming that platform that is going to be exploding over the next couple of years. We're already seeing 600 million videos played on YouTube daily, and we are seeing that grow exponentially. And 75% of YouTube mobile users use the mobile device as their primary access to YouTube. So in using YouTube videos with their mobile phones, a lot of people don't go on YouTube on their desktop, but they'll view videos through YouTube while they're sitting on a train or have some downtime. And we're seeing this have a really big impact on brand awareness. Experiments that were done by various companies, Volvo specifically here, actually set up 2 control groups, one that was exposed to a TV ad versus one that was exposed to all facets of their media. And they saw a 25% increase in overall awareness, 48% lift in the recall. UPS is actually providing in-stream video ads, and you see down at the bottom, they have 3 icons here where you can actually download their app, transact from them, or go into the site. So they're creating a video commercial or infomercial about their brand. It was mentioned earlier that video ads are becoming extremely prevalent. And it was mentioned by Eric that we just launched a new video format. We also launched a video format a little bit before that called TrueView. How many of you may have heard of TrueView video? A few of you. So TrueView is a video where you can have anywhere from 2 to 3 minute video showing in-stream like this. And if a user opts out or skips through the ad 30 seconds, before 30 seconds into the ad, you don't pay for that ad. If it lasts longer, then you would pay for that view. But it gives you the opportunity to put a lot of creative out and see what's resonating and not necessarily have to pay for people who aren't interested in viewing it. The tablet experience is quite a bit different than the phone, if for none other reason that the screens are much different, so you can fit a lot more content on a tablet. Sweetwater experienced a 30% higher conversion rate on iPad than it did on their desktop, just by the experience that they created with the pictures and the easy navigation with the touchscreen. Citrix is promoting their app download through various apps, and they've seen 100% increase in downloads just by blasting the mobile web through AdMob and other networks. We have one more video. We'll try this one out. This was a video, a multi-screen ad that Volvo did promoting a user who had put 3 million miles on his car. So that campaign was part of our Project Rebrief, which was looking at the top 50 global brands, looking at campaigns that they had done 50 years ago in the heyday, and then reimagining it for the digital age. So while that is B2C focus, I think you can see how it would apply to B2B and your industries. Reimagining the different things that you can do on these platforms in order to really change things and create an experience that hasn't been possible in the past. So I'll wrap with this statement, and it really is that mobile has created a sociological shift in how we relate to both the digital and the physical world. Because we have these devices and we're so connected to them, it really changes the way we need to think about the business and how to run it. I'll leave you with the last video to kind of give you a vision of the future and what things might look like in the not too distant future, which we've been talking about. But this technology is here. How we control that and how we use it is really up to us. I don't have all the answers for you on exactly what you need to do. I think the next wave of digital and mobile experiences are actually going to come from this group, because it's going to be you thinking about and reimagining your business. This is one way we're reimagining the way people will interact. I think the biggest challenge we have with making this vision realize is whether or not we can make those glasses fashionable. Because all of the technologies are there, and how we use those things and how we interact in the future is going to be driven by that. So it was a pleasure getting a chance to talk to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me to get more information. I'll leave you with 2 websites to go to. How to Go Mo, if you're interested in looking at developing your mobile website, which was a key takeaway from today's events. Lots of information there. Again, feel free to reach out to me directly if you need help getting steered in the right direction, as well as the mobile playbook. So this goes through a more in-depth discussion of the 5 questions that I discussed here briefly today. So with that, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.